Now, it's a well-known fact that us humans tend to consume food on occasion, some more than others. And there's no better way to do it than in a fine dining restaurant. Relaxing in comfortable surroundings with a glass of wine while highly trained chefs prepare your meal for you. But do you ever pause to wonder at all the frantic work, stress, drama and conflict that goes on in the hot, bustling, cramped kitchen that's carefully hidden from view? Well, that's the premise behind Boiling Point, a high-tension drama set in the kitchen of a busy London restaurant as the staff struggle to cope with difficult customers, personal conflicts and simmering tensions that all threaten to boil over into disaster. And yes, I totally made the joke, let's move on. The unique aspect of Boiling Point is that the whole movie is recorded in one continuous take. No breaks or cuts, no subtle trickery to give the actors a chance to rest and regroup, no careful little panning shots to hide a scene reset. It's a hugely ambitious undertaking and the result is one of the most gripping and compelling pieces of cinema that I've seen in years. The movie kicks off with head chef Andy showing up for work late as usual. Straight away we know that the man's got problems, and a tense call to his ex-wife gets cut short by an equally tense meeting with a health and safety inspector, who kindly informs Andy that he's downgrading his restaurant's rating due to poor hygiene standards. Andy's pissed off and rants at his staff, but kind of ignores the fact that most of the problems can actually be traced back to himself. It's a bad start to anyone's night, and it looks like things are only going to get worse from here on out. The restaurant's been overbooked, there's already tension between the kitchen and the front of house staff, language barriers amongst the employees hamper their communications and ability to respond to problems, something that's going to become very relevant later. To make matters worse, Andy's former boss and celebrity chef Alistair has arrived without warning, and he's brought with him one of the toughest food critics in London. Is he just spying on his former student, or is there something deeper going on? Either way, the pressure is on Andy and his kitchen staff to deliver, and it's not long before it starts to take its toll. Mistakes, negligence, communication problems, difficult customers, personal dramas, and overwhelming workload all start to pile up, and as the pressure rises and temperatures flare amongst the staff, the situation threatens to spiral out of control. When you think about compelling, fast-paced dramas, probably the last location that comes to mind is the kitchen of a London restaurant, and yet, that's exactly what Boiling Point delivers. It's been a long time since I've been this completely gripped by what I was seeing on screen, willing characters to pull through against the odds, tensed up as events and mistakes head towards disaster, and fascinated to learn more about the unexpected revelations that start to drop. And it's not just the main plotline that keeps you invested, it's all the little side stories and conflicts and hidden dramas that help to fill the gaps. The black waitress having to deal with an asshole racist customer, the young kitchen hand that's revealed to be secretly self-harming, the dishwasher who gets left to pick up the slack when her co-worker fucks off to do his own thing, the maitre d' who's totally out of her depth and desperate to leave. All of these little extra storylines add so much flavour and depth to the script. Fuck, I'm not even intended to make these food jokes. Anyway, my point is that it's a tight, efficient, perfectly balanced story that never wastes a second and feels utterly grounded in believability, and a lot of this comes down to two major things: the performances and the cinematography. The movie was shot in a real restaurant, which obviously helps with the authenticity factor. Nothing takes you out of a film worse than realising that the actors are standing on a very obvious set, or even worse, a big empty green room. By contrast, this place feels completely lived in and believable, which absolutely helps to ground the action in reality. As I said before, the entire movie's shot in a single continuous take, and as far as I can tell, there's absolutely no trickery to squeeze a transition in here or there. And the result is that you feel like you're right there with them. There's no pretentious artsy camera work, no big dramatic Hollywood shots. What you see is what you get, and honestly, the amount of work and planning and professionalism that must have gone into this shoot is mind-boggling. One single fuck-up or flubbed line would have ruined the entire thing, but you never get the sense that any of the actors are struggling to hit their marks, remember their lines, or find the right emotional tone. People look frazzled and exhausted by the end because, well, they probably were. And that brings me along to the performances. It's rare to find a movie where every single actor pulls their weight and gives it 100%, but this is one of those movies that somehow manages to do it. The acting is naturalistic and understated, the conversations and arguments flow like real exchanges would, and the actors all look and act like real authentic people. Jason Flemyng and Stephen Graham are both seasoned pros at this point, and both know exactly how to get the most out of every single scene. Graham especially gives one of the best performances of his career, never missing a single beat. He's a man right on the edge, struggling to hold it together, and his final scene on the phone to his ex-wife is a masterclass in understated, raw emotion. But honestly, I think my favourite might be Vinette Robinson as Carly. With Andy frequently absent, she's basically the glue that holds the kitchen together, quickly prioritising orders and mediating between bickering staff members. And the scene where she finally loses her shit and verbally destroys the incompetent maitre d' is one of the best on-screen rants I've ever seen. It's brutal and honest and raw, and it fits perfectly with the dynamic of the movie. Ultimately, Boiling Point is one of those extremely rare films that comes along every once in a while to remind us that there are still people in the industry who care about making genuine art. There's actors who can still make you believe they are the characters they're playing. There are still stories that grip your emotions and hold you spellbound from start to finish. There are still movies that are worth watching. And that is exactly what this is. If you haven't seen it yet, then The Drinker thoroughly recommends Boiling Points. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.